Hello and welcome to another video. This is going to be very exciting video since we're going to be talking about charts, all sort of charts, except for those advanced one that we're going to leave for another videos since we're going to really discuss something that we couldn't easily do in Excel, such as Gantt charts and some dynamic chart. First of all, let me go ahead and give a credits to the website that I got the data from it. I'm trying here to save time so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's called excel-easy.com. It's a very powerful website. It's helping me a lot to teach this class and many other classes when it comes to dealing with data. Having said that, so I'm feeling good about it. Let's go ahead and see what the common mistake that people do when they're trying to create a chart. Of course, the most common chart of all the chart is columns. So if I labeled the year here with the label year, and I wanted to go ahead and produce a chart that is going to cover the year 2009 through 2014, for a study that concerned bears, dolphins, whales, mammals, and how many these mammals been spotted or studied or evaluated. I'm not going to really discuss completely what's behind the study as much as to show the data. So if we go ahead and select this, knowing that I had a label already to the year, and when I create the chart through the insert menu, that's the very first step, which we have a whole group for charting. The most common chart, as I said, is actually the column, and it's clustered. We're going to be talking about the stacked one later. So look at this. This doesn't make any sense, knowing that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the x-axis or the horizontal axis. And the data really went completely bizarre on the left side. So what happened when we included the year as a label for the year? Excel thought that this column A, is going to be treated like any other columns, but that's not my intention. My intention is to put the year in the x-axis. So how are we going to do it? Of course, you click on the chart and delete it. Remove the word year completely from the list of the data. Select the data again one more time. Go to insert, and now go to columns and create that clustered. And look here, it's beautiful. The reason now that we have actually the 2009 through 2014 absolutely resulted from missing this label. So I'm actually telling Excel, treat this as values for the horizontal axis and treat those three as the column that or the bar, actually the columns in the chart. If I'm done with it, I could go ahead and put the year here for better illustration. Of course, this is not the only type of chart that I could get from the column. There is a lot of layout that is going to be very helpful for me to see. If I go to the design, in the quick layout, we have multiple of those. This is the first one that comes by default. The second one is very nice, and it shows the actual value for the number of the dolphin instead of having it as the y-axis. And this is another style. This one actually shows the year and the numbers. I like this one when I wanted to show the data along with the chart, especially when I want to move that to another application like Word or PowerPoint. And this is also shows the title in the actual value. I'm just trying to expose you to all the different layout that you have. It's really recommended to play with those in your own time, so you'll be able to tell which one is going to be the best suitable or the most suitable one. Of course, your audience is going to determine that. So you're going to really question who's going to be watching, or who's going to be your presentation is going to be communicated to. As a result, your audience will be able to tell you or direct you to which one of these layouts. So this is as easy as it is. Of course, we have a lot more to do chart in order to make it meaningful. We could go ahead and add the title of the chart. I could say here, study 2009 through 2014, or find more suitable title for this chart. The format, as you know, is really similar to Word, where we're going to be able to just decorate our chart. So that's up to us how we're going to look at them. You don't want to exaggerate with certain things, but there's much to it than you probably would like to spend for that video. Okay, let's go ahead and move to the second type of chart. It's a bar chart. People confuse the difference between column chart and bar chart. The difference is not really that much. Is bar chart is basically a column chart that is tilted 90-degree or flat column chart. But the really good reason for us to get to the bar chart when we do have a large or long titles for our bars, it's better to move to the bar chart because it gives you much bigger area into the left of the chart. Let me show you that in action. That makes much more sense. I'm going to go ahead and say insert. I'm going to go to the bar chart, and if you notice here, I'm doing the stack, and notice how much area it gave me. If I change this chart, just to show you the difference, but I'm able to change the chart from one tab to another instantly. Here we go. We could go to this option, and I could change it to the column, and hopefully you will agree with me that really this doesn't look as good as the other one where we have the title in the left side of it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it back to the bar chart. And there is no difference except the fact that we could go ahead and have more room for it. Of course, you could go ahead and change this to the reason why students are late to the class. You know, so this reason, for example, to being late, reason to being late to class. Okay, I like this one here. I thought it was Saturday. Of course, one thing that we could go ahead and play with is the fact the color of each one of those bars. The colors is going to, since I click one time on it, it's going to select everything. However, if I wanted to color one in column individually, I have to click on it twice, and that will separate it from the rest. Then I could go to the format and maybe change it to a different color. So here we go. If I wanted to change this also, if I click on it one time, it's going to select all of them. Twice, it's going to select that specific one. I could go ahead and change it. The same thing with column here. If I'm not happy with the, for example, the blue color, and I want to change all the blue color to black, then I have to click on the blue color one time, and here we go. It changed all the blacks directly to that specific colors. So this is really the difference between column and bar chart. They're very much similar, except the bar is, as I said, it's like 90-degree flatted, and also the more room that is associated with the label for it. Line chart is very common for scientific, which is also, if you want to know exactly what each line could help you with, there's nothing to it. You could go ahead and click on or hover on the top of that type of chart and say use the chart type to show trends over time, years, months, and days, or categories. Here I have categories: bears, dolphin, and whales. The same exact story here. I did leave the year labels because I don't want it to have the years as part of the actual data. I want to treat that as a series for the data. So when I do actually select that, notice it's going to look a lot better when I go to the line chart. Very easy, very informative. Look at the different colors associated with the three categories here. If I don't like the green for whatever reason, I could select it, go to the format, change the color to anything. I could change it to purple. I could change it to, let's say, orange, light dark orange, whatever you want, as long as you are actually started with the right approach. So make sure that we have the right title as well. Line chart, again, very good for time series and also good for categories. When we talk about trend line, if you have 2007, actually not trend line, we're going to talk about spark line. Trend line is very good for using a prediction that will allow us to, if I do this as a time as clustered, okay, there's a clustered here, and I could go ahead and try this as a cluster. And if you notice here with this type of a chart, I could click on any one of those, and I could go ahead and say add a trend line. See here, it added a trend line. I wanted the trend line to be linear, What is the benefit of the trend line for the period and of course associated with the sales? There is a trend here, or we use the least square methods in order to tell us about what is the value, what is the outcome or the independent variable versus the independent variable. So if I go to the layout here, and if I go ahead and have the trend line, okay, here we go. This is the trend line. It gives me the equation associated with the prediction of what would be the number of the outcome. Here I have the largest, let's say the period is 10, and I had the sales as 89. Okay, what happened if I have the 13? So let's go ahead and put that 13 in the equation that was immediately created for me, which is going to be 7.7, that is 7.75. Multiplied by, here the value is multiplied by 13, whereas my x is 13, and plus 18, 268. That's the equation that is actually produced to me by the trend line, which is going to give me almost 120 items. If I wanted to produce, actually input 13, the outcome for the sale is going to be 120. Very helpful. Let's talk about the pie chart. The pie chart, very easy, but it's only concerned with one single data. We can't really do a pie chart for all of this like we did in the columns or in the par. Look here, if I click on the, let's say use this chart type to show proportion of a whole, use it when the total of your numbers is 100%. So I could do that, for example, only for this. Okay, because this is the 100% between in relation to 2009, or I could do it between the years and the years only. So let's go ahead and do that only for the 2009. You could do it for 2010 or 12 or whatever year you choose, as long as you select this, then press the control key to select any discontiguous, meaning non-adjacent data. You could still do it. If you don't want to do 2009, you want to do 2013, that's fine, since I was able to select those two rows by pressing the control key while I'm selecting. Actually, you don't start by pressing the control key. You select the first row, then you press the control key, then you select the second item. And we could go ahead and click on the 2-dimension. Here we go. Notice how the dolphin is the smallest number. And this is not the end of it. This is concerning year 2013 data. And I could go ahead and look at the quick layout where I could get really different type of layout. For example, I could get the number of the whales with the percentage in relation to the 100%. If you add the 58%, 39%, and 3%, that's going to result into 100%. Of course, I could go ahead and do more type of layout. That's completely up to you. If I wanted to go ahead and split the pie chart by clicking on this one here and drag it to the right, and here we go, we were able to split all of them. Actually, the farther it is, the smaller it gets, but we could go ahead and put them together. If I wanted just only to split the bears by themselves, then you click on it twice, then you take it all by itself, and that will do it as well. You don't have to stick with this. As you notice, we could go ahead and change the quick layout to anything you want. Okay, and the format can allow us very easily to change it to a 3-dimension. So you could go ahead and change that to 3-dimension. For example, here we go. I would not advise you to go ahead and change that to 3-dimension, knowing that it's going to really make it. Let me go ahead and see. There we go. We could start it with a 3-dimension. Let me see when we go back to the format here. Okay. That's going to give us not really 3-dimension because I'm not selecting the whole thing. So now it's going to give me. Okay. I would like to go ahead and show you another. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Select those already been selected. I could go ahead and start with a 3-dimension from the beginning. The 3-dimension, we have a problem with it usually because it does not really represent when it's the actual percentage. Sometimes it's really distorted. So make sure that you choose whatever is suitable for you, but two-dimension would be the most appropriate one. All right, we're going to start with thermometers. The thermometers is very exciting because one of those dynamic type of charting, and we're going to be able to go ahead and make our own data. Let's assume that we have a project. It's going to span over, let's say, 10 weeks. Okay, so we're going to say here week, and we're going to start week 1, and I'm going to go ahead and use the fill handle all the way to week 10. And we are able to monitor the total of the units that we produce each week. Our goal is to go ahead and make it 1500. And how much we have finished so far, it's going to be the sum of all the units that we created so far. Okay, and if I say here I created in the first one is 20 units, then I created 400 units in the week 2 for whatever reason, and we need to figure out what is the percentage so far. Percentage, it's going to be this one here divided by the goal, meaning how much we finished. And of course, it's very easy for me to go ahead to the home ribbon and make this as a percentage, give it 2 digits to the right of the decimal point. And notice here, if I added here 80, it's going to increase to 33. If I added 78, it's going to go to 38. I wanted to create thermometers for this, but let's go ahead and do it slowly. You probably have to do this a couple times on your own in order to get the whole story. I'm going to select only the percent, okay? And I'm going to insert, and I'm going to go to the column chart. However, instead of going to the cluster, I'm going to go to the stacked column. And now it's going to really be very, very exciting to see how we're going to create dynamic thermometers. I'm going to get rid of the percentage, select the word. I'm going to also, while I'm cleaning the thread, this one here rather, the lines, I'm going to click also and get rid of the one. One thing I need to go ahead and span the whole white area that represent the percentage. I'm going to create it where we have, I'm going to click on the right button and say format data series. It's going to give me, this is actually 2013. If you're using 2010, you will be able to do the same thing, because you're going to get, when you click on format data, it's going to give you this screen here to the right, anywhere on the screen here. I wanted to be able to tell you this is different look in 2013 than 2010. The only thing that I wanted to really do, whether it's 2013 or 2010, is to go ahead and have the gap with 0. Also, I want to click on the format axis. If you click here, in 2010 is going to pop up on your screen. Here is going to be on the right, which I could actually move it if I want, but I'm going to leave it where it is and change the maximum to 1, so it's going to be 100%. The reason I wanted this is to go ahead and cover the whole unit of sales. Of course, now we could go ahead and squeeze this, okay, up to whatever width you like or you feel as your thermometer is going to look good. And one more thing I'm going to do is to click in this area here, the white area, and click the right button and format plotted area. It's going to give me the fill. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and choose solid colors. Whether you use even 2007 or 2010, it's just the same. Here we go. I changed that to the red color. And now I'm going to click on this area here and click on the right buttons. Of course, we could go ahead and get the format chart area. I wanted to say here no fill for the line. So you notice here there's no line here anymore, thick line. Could go ahead and no fill and no line at all. So let me go ahead and show you there's no line at all and no fill. I could go ahead and do something by going to the insert and go to the oval type and go ahead and drag. Please make it ender, not on the top of it right away. Adjust it to whatever level you want. Maybe you want to make it a little bit different, or I would like to make it similar color, and put it all the way in the end. Now you see the rounded shape is selected, press the shift key and select the actual thermometers. Now both of them are selected. The first item is always surrounded with those little circles or dots. And here we go, we're going to click on this here and we're going to say group and grouping both of them. So if I moved one of them, if I moved them since they're a group, they're going to be one items. Here we go. See? It's one single items. Now I have my thermometers, and notice what happens if I added the data to week 5. I have 80. See how it moved up? 100 for week 6. This gives an impression that actually very kind of good feeling to know that something is really moving along the way. And this is thermometers. I hope you have enjoyed this videos. I'm going to continue with other videos for the next topic and see you there.